Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the Wealth Effect with myself,
Good morning.
Nicole Williams. We have Jason, Allen, John, and we are joined by some amazing gentlemen. Hey, Jason, what's going on?
What's up, Nicole? What up, Craig? What up, Dean? How you
What's
guys
up,
doing
guys? Good
today?
morning.
I'm good, man.
Grand rising.
Grand
All
Rising.
right,
Yes,
Grand
I love that.
Rising.
I'm
And
looking.
thank you guys for joining us. We're happy to have you on the Wealth Effect show. We've had a lot of ladies as guests over the last few weeks, and so it's nice to bring some male energy into the building. What's up, guys?
Testosterone.
So it's funny, we'll get into the conversation, but one thing that attracted me and Nicole to start working together and stuff like that was she was saying that there's not a lot of like males that provide that financial literacy or financial education into the Canadian market that much. And it's like always, you see females doing their things, but like when it comes to males, you don't see a lot of it. So I think it's very great that we have you guys on here today to talk about all the wonderful things you guys are doing, and so we can get some of that male perspective too. Because it's a big part of it, and I think that we don't talk enough about our finances. It's like a closed book, and this needs to be opened up more. So I'm just gonna let you guys do a little bit of introduction for yourself and talk about yourself and your business.
Craig, I'll let you go first.
We always have this. Who goes first? Who goes second? Okay, I'll go first. So just to kind of introduce myself a little bit, obviously my name is Craig Brown, and I started working in the corporate sector back in 2003. I worked for a company called Bell TV, or Bell Express U at the time, and started there, kind of worked through different positions. I went to school for business marketing, and went through various positions within Bell, kind of climbed the corporate ladder, as most West Indian parents kind of teach you, get a job and stay there for 25 years type of thing. So I said, okay, you know what? I got a job, let's see what I can do. And 16 years I was there. I went through various jobs, and it didn't quite feel fulfilling for me, to tell you the truth. And a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, I resigned, and I basically took the leap of faith to start something new, start something fulfilling. And this is where Dean comes in, and other mentors that I've spoken to with regards to kind of taking that leap of faith. When I did resign, it was really scary because, after 16 years of being complacent, comfortable, you have a salary, you're going to get a bonus every February, all those things coming in, I just kind of felt complacent. So when I took the leap of faith, it was really scary, but I had discussions with, other people before I took that leap of faith. And plus I had some good investments. So I knew if anything, were to happen, or if things didn't work out on the entrepreneurial side, that I can go back into the same sector that I was in, because I had some core competency skills that can help me get me back in there. So that was kind of my escape route, just to kind of say, let's just do it. Because if anything happens, I can try to get back into the sector. So that's where, Dean and I kind of came into, business partners. We know each other for a long time. Our wives are really, really good friends. And yeah, that's how Checks Over Strikes kind of started. We started mentoring, 7 girls that came to me wanting some mentorship on how to invest, purchase their first condo. So, Dean already had the idea of potentially writing a book. So I was like, hey, Dean, let's get together and kind of see what we can do with these young ladies. And what I like about, women, especially young ladies, they listen. So, we gave them some, tips, some tricks, and they came back and they're like, guys, we have 20 side hustles. Help us. Guys, we pulled our credit. This is what it is. How can you help us get, line of credit? So Dean and I were like, oh my gosh, they're listening. So we have to kind of, we got to propel this. We got to put things in motion now. So that's how we sat down with them post-COVID, every month, and we were having meetings with them. And then, Dean was recording the conversations, and then it turned into a book. We launched it in July of last year, and the rest is history.
Love it. Love it. I absolutely love it. What about yourself, Dean? Just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you, thought about the amazing book. I actually just have a copy. I want to show it to everybody. So this is it. Checks Over Stripes, right? Really good book. So just tell us a little bit about yourself as well, Dean.
So for me, my background's in accounting and finance, so that's where I started, and I went to school for that. After school, so I graduated from Seneca College. So I started doing people's taxes for quite some time, and then I got a job as an auditor for a pharmaceutical company, and I was there for about 8 years. And one day, walked into the office, and boss said, "We're dissolving our department." So I was like, "Oh, okay." Same year I was getting married. I just booked I have a side hustle where I used to DJ on the side. So I booked a 3-week trip to go overseas to DJ. And I was like, oh, okay. But for me, it was kind of like that eye opener where it's like nothing is guaranteed in life. And I just took that leap of faith where I said, you know what, I'm not going back to going to work for somebody. So I started my own car dealership. And as the years progressed with doing people's taxes, I just had this idea to the questions that people were asking me and the information that they didn't know, I thought was common sense, but it wasn't common. So I was like, you know what? There's a vast need for this information, which is financial literacy around budgeting, saving, investing, and their credit. So a lot of people didn't know this stuff. So I was like, you know what? It became repetitive. So I was like, you know, I need to put this out there, but I got to think of a way to do it. And for me, writing wasn't my strong suit. Like, give me numbers, I can do that all day long. So I was like, you know what, I got to find a way to do this. So I was listening. Instagram is a very powerful tool because this one guy named Ash Cash was talking about, if you want to write a book, you don't necessarily need to write it yourself. You can just record the conversation and then transcribe it. So I was like, oh, okay. So then that's where me and Craig came together, where we were recording our conversations with the 7 individuals that want to learn more about purchasing a property. So we said, you know what, we're just going to school them from start to finish so that they have the whole package and they're not just getting one piece of financial literacy. We're giving them the whole bundle, right? So after all that was said and done, me and Craig came together and said, hey, let's put this in a book. So that's pretty much where Checks Over Strikes came into play. And we've been going, right now we're 1 year strong in the industry and many more to come after that.
Yeah. And you know what's so great about this is the fact that you said, you mentioned Ash Cash. I do follow him. I started following him a couple of years ago. And at the time, I have a book that I released in 2019. But I already released my book, but then I saw that he himself was advocating for people just to write, you know, if you're an expert in anything, write. And he had a book at the time where he was breaking down Jay-Z's latest album, right? And I was like, okay, anything to do with Jay-Z, and he's broken into finance, I'm like, I'm in. So it's actually quite interesting that there's an underlying similarity, but no, really great.
Okay, so we got 3 offers in here, and I'm not an author. Great.
Coming soon. Never say never, man.
No, I said I'm not. I never said I'm not going to be one. It's funny. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they said like a man should do 3 things in his life: have a son, write a book, and plant a tree. So yeah. So we'll see how that goes. So that's, you know what, guys, that's like, honestly, like that's compelling and amazing to hear, like your journey of going from corporate world. You know, me and Nicole come from corporate world as well. I think everyone has a little bit of corporate stench in their life, and then they transition. And it's interesting to hear each of your guys' transitions, and it's a little bit different. But what I want to know is, when did you guys first realize like financial literacy was important in your own lives? Like, when did that first reality set in?
For me, it wasn't like financial literacy per se. It was more so along the lines of credit and investing, because that was a question that was always brought up to me. It's like, well, for me being in the car industry, you need credit to get a car.
Yeah.
So a few people that I've encountered have bad credit. So I was like, how do you have bad credit? Like, it didn't make sense to me, right? Because I just grew up in a way where it's like, I kind of learned early about credit, so that I kind of had that advantage. My mom taught me that. So it's like the moment I had that credit card, like everybody starts with a credit card by the time they're the age of 18 and starting post-secondary. So when I got that first credit card, I didn't do what everybody else did. Go buy shoes, just spend it on food, do whatever. I literally just had that credit card. I just put it down and just let it sit. Like I had no use for it. So it was more so because at that time I was working 2 jobs. So I was like, okay, but I don't understand why I need this credit card for. So I was like, okay, my mom's like, get the credit card. You need it to build your credit. So I'm like, okay. So then as years progress, I learned more about credit, and then getting into the car industry and then people not getting approved. So I was just like, okay, this seems to be a reoccurring thing. So I need to find out more how to help people rebuild their credit so that they're able to purchase things that they want. And then another thing for me was investing. So for me, I'm a jack of all trades, master of none, and I don't see it as a downfall. I see it more of as something uplifting, because I just always have that thirst for knowledge. So I'm always trying to find a way to make $1. So I was like, you know what? Let me look into the stock market. So I learned about the stock market, I think about 2007, 2008. I was really green at the time. And I just seeing these numbers, it just excited me. Or it's like, oh, you can just put money into a company and you make more money. I was like, okay. So that was something that I got really invested into. And then 2012, I was presented the opportunity to purchase a rental or a pre-construction. So I was like, oh, okay, this seems cool. Like I can get my foot into real estate as well. So as I got into these 2 different markets, I just learned more and more about investing in real estate and also investing into the stock market. So as I was doing those things, people were seeing what I was doing, so they wanted that knowledge. So I was like, you know what? If people are going to be asking me these questions, I got to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. So that's where it literally started with me with the financial literacy, and then we went over to taxes, and then just seeing the gaps that people didn't know about the taxes. So I was like, you know what? Financial literacy in general, I was like, okay, this is something that I need to get out to the masses to help them better themselves with their money relationships and the future endeavors that they want to do in regards to money and financial literacy.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Like that, just to know that you're using your own personal story. That's the best teacher, in my opinion, right? When you can use your own examples to allow people to say, okay, this is where my vulnerability is. And Jason is right. This is the conversation that I've been having. And I'm so happy that there's the male energy that's stepping up to the table, because at one point it just felt like, where were the men, within these conversations? We knew that it was happening, but it was most so in the back end. And we were like, we need people from our community to see men that are doing things. You don't have to, be at the pinnacle. It's sometimes people enjoy watching the process, and they can actually relate to that. And as they see that you're on your journey and you're willing to teach, and as you're growing with them, it's just an amazing thing. I'm so happy to actually, for this conversation and the impact that I know it will have on the community.
Most definitely.
All right. And yourself, Craig?
Yeah, it was, again, I was the opposite of Dean. I got a credit card and I blew it. But I'll talk for that. I kind of like, when it came to financial literacy, it was more or less what I learned. And I'll take it a step back when I purchased my first home. And I had a whole bunch of money saved up. I had like maybe 30K. This is back 10 years ago. I don't want to, date myself, but whatever. When I bought my first home, my significant other had credit and I didn't. So that's what it was. And when I went to university and / college, I took those credit cards and I did the opposite of Dean. I bought shoes. I said, I'm going to pay it back. I bought food. I did all that stuff. And when I came to purchase my first home, my credit wasn't so good. So I had cash, but I never had credit. So my significant other had the credit. So what we did was we bonded together and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. I have the cash, you have the credit. We're, going to put your name as the primary owner on the house. And from there, that's when I said to myself, you know what? I need to build my credit. Like I can't have my credit like this Because it was embarrassing. My significant other's credit was like 800, and mine was like low 600s, like high 590s. And I was like, nah, I can't do this. So from then and from that point on, it was okay, learning how to kind of manage your debt, find out what you need to get your credit score up. And I was calling those bill collectors and saying, hey, what can we do to resolve this matter here? Because I don't want to no longer be in red, or I don't want to be on your bucket list of people that are not paying on time.
Yeah.
So made those calls, made some relationships as well to kind of say, hey, I don't have all that, but I can pay this right now. What can you do for me?
Yeah.
So, call those series of companies. And then after I call them, it was just, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure when I have my credit card and I use it, I'm going to pay it back in a timely fashion. And I'm going to show the creditors that I'm going to pay it back every 2 weeks. So as I was using it, was paying it back. I was buying groceries, gas. I just found some ways that, hey, you know what? The everyday things that I would purchase with cash, I'm just going to use my credit card. And at the end of the month, I'm just going to pay it off. So, using those type of exercises and, having those type of behaviors, it helped me increase my credit. And then I was like, over the years, it helped me because I wasn't in good credit standing, and it helped me build back my credit to where it is now. And it's a lot better. And I can actually, have conversations about this because, I had bad credit before. So I can make myself always relatable to say, hey, this is what I did. I wasn't like Dean, I wasn't so cookie cutter perfect with my credit, but I learned. And sometimes you have to, it's not always, people say you're taking L's. It's not about taking, losses. It's always lessons. So, because if you don't live, you don't learn.
Yeah.
That's true. I love that. So that like obviously like financial literacy is important, and it usually happens like as a result of you needing something, right? So Dean is like you say, one of the few individuals that knew about it prior. But most people, it's just like, oh, shoot, I actually need my credit for this, or I need my credit for that. So, and it's always good that when you're teaching people, you can come from some sort of experience and, saying like I was there. Because, also even being as a mortgage agent, I've had some issues in the past too. But being able to relate with the people that's sitting across from you, I find it's always beneficial. So, again, like, let's stay on the financial literacy. Like, I know you guys wrote a book. But like, do you guys read any books, or what was your first book in relation to financial literacy that you either read or listened to, or whatever?
I didn't really read a book tailored to financial literacy, but I would say the first book that kind of opened my eyes to spreading more knowledge was the infamous Think and Grow Rich by Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah. So, and it's funny because
Think and Grow Rich.
No, sorry, not Think. Sorry, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
All right, cool.
So, I'm just picturing Think and Grow Rich in my head, but no, it was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it was funny because I was introduced to that book by one of my close relatives, and
nice.
And it's funny because he ended up in a situation where he did some time, and as he was doing time, he's like, "Yo, you need to read this book," because he knew within me there was something that needed to be released, and that book would help me get to that next level. And the moment he gave me that book, my eyes opened, where I was like, it made me look at like not my dad, but his dad's in two different ways, where it's like, yeah, you can go to school, get that education, get that great job, or you can go the entrepreneurial route and you can make that additional money where now your money's working for you. So I was just like, oh, okay. So it just set that light bulb off in my head. So that book was kind of the starter for me to get more into reading and researching about financial, not so much financial, but more on the investing side. But then as I started learning about investing, financial literacy came to be into the mix.
So
and I promise you, we did not script this. Rich Dad Poor Dad, same thing. I didn't read it, but I listened to it.
Okay.
And again, great. It provided great insight as to what one dad was saying versus the other dad. Like Dean mentioned, he mentioned, why don't you study, a very good company and invest in it? You know what I mean? And money is not all, money is not the root of all evil. You know what I mean? It's the lack thereof.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it was kind of changing my mindset and understanding, okay, well, I was always taught this way, But when you take back, when you take a step back and you kind of look into it, you're like, what he's saying makes perfect sense. Like, you know what I mean? How can I afford something? You know what I mean? Learn how to manage risks, and as opposed to being conservative and not taking any risk. You know what I mean? So that's
you have 10 seconds but until the commercial. I don't want to interrupt because this is a really great conversation. But last week we got caught slipping. So
good.
Ahead of the game, she's on the ball, bro.
And you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Hey, this is Jermaine Robbins, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Yo, this is Kiana O'Quinn, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
This is Lavinia J from the UK, and you're listening to iLive Radio.
Attention, all musicians, bands, associations, clubs, and organizations that represent collective styles of music across Canada. Now is the time to rebuild our collective music nation. Genres like hip-hop, R&B, jazz, soul, reggae, gospel, and more united. The Collective Music Nation is a non-profit organization committed to the development of collective music. Free memberships are available now. Collective Music Nation, one voice, strength in unity.
This is Miss Care keeping you connected with your iLive 5x5. Brought to you by iLive Music, sponsored by Independent Hype, and powered by The Hook Entertainment. Contribute to the conversation by using hashtag iLive5x5.
For the latest and greatest in soul music and more, stay tuned to iLive Radio throughout the week.
Connect with our team at iliveradio.com or follow us at iLive Radio across social platforms.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
The number one hit music station.
hi guys, welcome back. Thank you for continuing to join us and supporting us. Again, it is The Wealth Effect, brought to you by CTMS. I am joined by my amazing host, Jason Allen John. And we have two amazing guests today, Dean Chambers and Craig, and they are the co-authors of Don't Be a Waste Yute, right? So definitely happy for this conversation. And just before we went on break, Craig was explaining to us about his experience with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So if you wanted to continue, Craig?
Yes. So as I was saying that, it was basically giving these conceptions of, what, one dad was telling versus another dad, right? And again, we were always taught that the money is all root of evil, when it's not true. It's the lack thereof. You know what I mean? And how to, and no, be conservative, don't take any risks, right? But, you can learn to manage your risks, right? So all these type of things, and, study hard to, find a company that you can buy. You know what I mean? So these are the type of things that, I don't think we were taught, just because, our parents just didn't know what they didn't know. So that was one of the major, factors in that. Because like I said, our parents were always taught to, go to school, get a good job and stay there. But that's just not what the climate is today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just important to, and again, I'm not a big reader, but I like to listen to books. So even if you don't like to read, there's audiobooks out there. So you know what, guys, there's no really excuse why you can't learn something new, because as Dean mentioned, the thirst for knowledge, like Dean always drops things on me. I was like, oh shoot, I didn't even know that. Let me research it. Let me look into it. So, it's always good to have that person that you can bounce back and forth. And, because Dean and I, we talk every single day. It's not a day that we miss, because again, it's just that, we're not only good friends, but we're business partners, right? So it's always good to learn from each other.
Well, on that note, so let's say, so I understand there's a few narratives to what drove you guys to start the Checks Over Strike company. But like, how has it evolved from a book? And like, what are you guys trying to do with this book that you wrote?
You hear me?
Craig.
A jump shot on that one. So again, as mentioned, like I said, the book launched last year, and again, we were just only thinking, okay, book. How can we get this book out to the masses? Because the narratives that were out there was that, you know what I mean, and I see it. we as a Black community, we don't have a lot of buying power. And when it comes to buying power, I mean, when you look at different backgrounds or cultures, and, I'm in the Brampton region, so I would often see when new developments come up, there's one group of people buying up the block. And, I would always say, like, why can't that be us? Like, but strength is in numbers. It's just all about, not understanding how you could kind of, when it comes to group economics, coming together as a group of like-minded people saying that, what, we're going to set aside X amount of money per month as a group, 30 of us, 20 of us, and then we're going to buy something. You know what I mean? I just think that, some of these things weren't instilled in us. And, us as the Black community will find everything else to buy. You know what I mean? We want that Air Jordan. We want that Gucci belt designer. We want all the finer things. And that's not to say that we can't get it, right? But I just think we have to get our priorities straight first before, making those hash purchase decisions, just because that at the end of the day, if you don't manage money properly, you could be designer rich, but broke in the mind, right? So at the end of the day, what is it that you really want, right? And this is the reason why, one of the reasons why we wrote the book and we were going out there to the masses. And then in addition to that, we looked at the book and say, okay, well, what are other ways we can kind of get this information out? So, we looked into, doing an online automated course. So, Dean and I and a few other people, we came together and, we took the book and said, all right, we're going to have an automated course. And we talked about every single chapter in the book. And, we also have a mortgage portion of the book as well. So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, we need to teach this to people. And maybe if we can have people, like I said, a lot of people just may not like to read. They may want to just look, look at an automated course, put their earbuds in and just listen and go through the course. And the good thing about an automated course is that you can press stop and play and rewind and go back if you don't, if you didn't quite understand something. So that was one of the aspects of the book that we wanted to turn ourselves into. So, that's, what we did. And, kudos soon, that automated course will be coming out soon for the masses as well. We can't wait. We think the production level was expertise and it has some dope gems. So we just can't wait to get it out.
That's exciting. Well, I was involved in the process. You don't have to not say it. So.
I wanted you to talk about it. You know what I mean? I wanted you to talk about it.
Talk about your stuff, but honestly, I'll just tell you my side. I know Craig. I actually know both of them, indirectly in different ways.
Weird stories.
Yeah, two different stories. It's interesting. I know Dean from a wedding, and we talked for 30 seconds. And I know Craig through one of my really, really good friends. So Craig popped by and showed us this book. I picked up the book, Nicole, and I was like, oh shoot, this is dope. Because I'm reading through it, Nicole, and I say, someone like me and you couldn't write that book because of our experience in the bank and how our jargon is in us. So I love the way they wrote the book, because to me, it was as a perspective of more like a consumer, more than an expert coming down on you and telling you what to do, right? So it was really clearly written, and I thought I would get involved and help them push the course a little bit. And the book.
I'm gonna interject and tell you that actually I loved how they wrote the book, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of mine. So that clearly tells me that you haven't read mine. Because the Scarborough E really comes out in Mrs. Moneybags Presents the Millennial Money Guide. It does.
Yes. So
I had to correct, because you said that the bank jargon. So I'm not really into the jargon stuff either, right? And that's why I think I really related to this book. I did read. Yeah. Sorry. So go back into telling us about the course as well.
Yeah. So again, I get what you're saying. So you threw me totally off of what I was gonna say, and I can't even lie. I can't even remember what I was gonna say. So all I was gonna say is that I think the book's well written, and then I know these guys. We course. I help them work on the course as well, and I think when the course comes out, a lot of people are gonna benefit off of that. So When you guys start seeing it, please download it and buy it. And also, you know, introduce it to people in your lives that you may think that need it. Because I think the other thing is that a lot of the times we have to pass on this knowledge and this information to other people that may need it. And sometimes it's not you, it's somebody else, like, you know, so it's just like, you know, when you have a book and you know it's a really good book and you're like, hey, you should read this book. I think the course is similar to be like that. And definitely something everybody should look into when they see it. And, you know, I just see a lot of these courses and a lot of stuff popping up. Nicole has her course that she does with Ladine, who was on our show as well. So it's exciting to see these things because I think people need to hear it from our voices. So sometimes I think people don't follow it because they're hearing it from like, you know, like Robert Kiyosaki, and they're like, oh, this guy doesn't relate. He's a multi-millionaire with how many properties? Of course you could tell me to think like this because it's easy for you to say that, you know? So when it comes from, you know, from you guys, or, you know, especially for you guys not being in the financial industry, I think it comes across a little bit different. So yeah, kudos to you guys. And I can't wait to see what you guys are going to do with the content. You know, just seeing where like other companies like Earn Your Leisure in the States is growing. I kind of see you guys can emulate some of that, and let's see what we could take it. And then, you know, I'll always be there to help and support. I'm sure Nicole will be there too as well. So
I honestly, I'm being like 100% wholehearted when I say Jason gave me a copy of the book, and I did put it down, and I loved the name, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is just sounds amazing. So when I first got the book, I did read the back, and I put it down. But knowing that you guys were coming on, I said, okay, no, Nicole, you gotta read it, right? So I did pick it up. As soon as I picked it up, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is exactly what the culture needs. Like it's exactly what the culture needs. And I say this to say, if you haven't already picked up a copy, again, Checks Over Strikes presents Don't Be a Waste Yute. It's literally a game-changing book. And I say that, you know, I don't really promote a lot of things, but this is something that I will promote. And I will say when the course comes out, as Jason says, look out for it, because it's done in a digestible way that people can understand, can relate to. And I think that's where the brilliance of the book comes out. And I think that's exactly what Jason was saying as well.
Yeah, we did it purposely because for me, going back to my culture, it's like what people would say to me is like, no bag of long talking, right? So I don't like to do the long reading and stuff. For me, like I was a bright kid in school, but the moment they gave me that book, I was like, okay. And it's like, it was the size that bothered me. I was like, yo, this is too many pages, like 500 pages. No, I can't do that, right? So for me, whenever, especially when I'm talking, I like to just get straight to the point. I don't like to do all the runaround. Well, to do this, it's like, no, get straight to the point and tell people what they want to know. So that's the reason why the book is so condensed and it's just straight to the point. So it's like, we didn't want to waste time. It's like, the moment you give someone such like a thin book like that, it's almost like a magazine. They'll be like, oh, okay, this is something short that I can read. It's short and sweet, straight to the point. So it's like you pick it up and it's like, oh, okay, I understand this. And it's like, it's something where, and also with the book, you don't have to start from front to back. You can literally start anywhere in the book. So it's not like one is dependent on the next chapter. Literally, if you're having trouble savings, you can go to the savings portion. Budgeting, you can go to the budgeting portion. So that's the way we designed the book. So it's just easy. It's reader friendly. Just pick it up, start reading, and good to go. Like you can literally finish the book within a couple of hours.
Yeah, love it.
Oh, that's good. So now you guys are what, a year into this entrepreneurial? Well, I know Dean, you've been in it for a while, but a year into this company. What would you guys say are like, you know, the hardest part of being an entrepreneur?
COVID.
All right. So what about COVID?
I approve that message.
What about COVID? What did COVID do to change your guys' plans?
But that's the thing. That's the catch-22 about COVID. So I'll be honest. You know, not to say that, you know, COVID has been disastrous. So I know it's been a situation in which a lot of people have been getting sick. There's even been death. However, if COVID never came when it did come, I don't think I would have been doing what I'm doing now. Just because when the chips were down and you didn't have really much to do, Dean was like, yo, let's get this done. And I think if I was doing, you know, anything, if things were normal and regular, I would have made up excuses, or I would have been too busy to do certain things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this really, it helped me. And I might sound naive or, maybe even selfish, but it helped me buckle down on what I need to do to ensure that this particular book can reach the masses, right? It had me thinking about vision boards, writing things down. Dean and I would meet once a week to kind of discuss things. It was just a situation that it really brought me to a space in where that I had no excuses now. What else am I going to say?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have enough time. I have all the time in the world to do this now. So it's just, it helped us tremendously. And it helped us, get to where we are today. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I think if everything was normal, we would have been probably finding excuses not to do it or saying, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
Yeah, and to add to what Craig was saying, that's with being an entrepreneur, people, the main excuse is I'm too busy to work on my business, where it's like you need to make that time into your business because you're working for yourself now. When you were working for somebody else, you made sure that you got what was asked of you to get done. Some people go above and beyond. So why aren't you doing that for your business? So that was one of that's one of like the hard things to do when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And also when I say COVID in the terms of expect the unexpected. A lot of people didn't expect something like this, but when you're doing a business or even purchasing a home, you always have to have an emergency fund or something to fall back on just in case. So with COVID happening, you would have like, say, your insurance policy. And it's funny, the only company that really had an insurance policy for something against COVID, funny enough, was Wimbledon. Wimbledon got a bag because they couldn't do anything. And they're the only company out there that had something in place for something like this to happen, where nobody ever thought this could happen, where now businesses are shutting down because they didn't have a plan in place for the unexpected. So you always have to try to plan for that unexpected that could happen. So for us, it helped. We were able to start the business and also put things in place. It only stopped us in terms of interacting with people face to face, where we want to do the workshops or going to set up seminars that we can do in person with people. But then again, we have technology. So Zoom kind of saved us on that. And so that's what I meant with COVID, just the unexpected.
Understand. That makes sense.
And the thing is, even, with the show that Jason and I have, The Wealth Effect, people have to understand financial literacy is the foundational building block. And that's how and why you see, people will come into millions, athletes, rappers, lottery winners, and then they lose it because they did not have the foundational pieces. So this is why I know your course is going to be extremely successful. If you want to just kind of go back to that a little bit, what can people expect? So I know we have the book. So how many are you breaking it down into modules? Is it going to be just a full, just one program? Like, just kind of give us a little bit of idea as to what that may look like.
So we actually have another course as well that we didn't go into. I want to segue into it when, Dean was talking about, savings and having emergency savings. So with the automated course, it just basically takes the information from out of the book and breaks it down. So savings, investing, credit, and budgeting. And it goes into a little bit more in depth as to what those things look like. In addition to that, we started a Zoom class, which was called the M3, the money management method. So this is actually separate from the book, and from the money management method Zoom course. It was a 4-week course, and what we did was we teach people how to better their relationship with money, right? And also let them know that you have more money than you think you have. It's just because when it comes to the end of the month, because you do so much foolishness with it, you don't see it. So with that particular Zoom course, we talk about, self-care, your budget. Are you tailoring your income to your budget? In addition to that, what are you doing with your time and your energy? You know what I mean? A lot of people, like Dean mentioned, they work so hard for that 9 to 5, they even go above and beyond, but they may have an idea and they don't even put an hour into that a day for that idea to bloom. or blossom, right? So we basically put together, a quick 4-week course, which we offer it quarterly. And, we did a few courses, we did a few classes, one in the end of December of last year and one in January, just to kind of show people what the course was all about. And again, like we couldn't do workshops, we couldn't do seminars, so we just use Zoom to help us kind of, build that community base and show people that, hey, you know what, you do have more money than you think you have. It's just that we just have to go through a series of exercises to ensure that you have those things. Like, you know what I mean? Right. And a lot of people love that, the course, because it taught them that, oh my gosh, I was spending like crazy. Uber Eats, again, things are closed, I'm going to buy Uber Eats. People are spending like $150 a week. People were
Amazon Prime.
A lot of people were just doing things that, at the end of the day, and again, people had disposable income now, right? Because at the end of the day, whether you're working, but you're not spending that money because you're not, you're working from home. So there's no gas. There's all these other things that come into light to say that, hey, I have more money, so I'm just gonna spend it here, spend it there, but spend it there. But then a month goes by, you spent $2,000, or you spent the same amount of money that you would have done if you were out there and there was no COVID.
So as we're approaching the last break, we have about a minute. Could you just tell us or tell the audience where they can get more information about your courses? Like, give them your social handles, just so that they know.
So checksoverstrikes.com or checksoverstrikes on Instagram, Dean M. Chambers on Instagram, and Avec Plaisir, which is with pleasure in French for Craig.
That was my young days, guys. Don't mind that. Don't mind that. I was suave a little bit back in the day.
You had a hairline.
Not gonna ask no questions.
Again, it's checks over strikes. I don't want anything with Drake or
no strikes. No strikes.
Strikes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to be approaching our last commercial break. It is The Wealth Effect, brought to you by CTMS with Jason Allen John and myself, Nicole Williams.
Hi, this is Michonne Young, and you're listening to iLive Radio, supporting independent artists from all around.
This is Ronnie Sia, and you're listening to iLive Radio. iLive Radio. Changing the way you listen to radio. Listen to radio. Listen to radio.
It goes down right here on iLive Radio.
Yo, this is Razan here, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way we listen to radio.
What's up, everybody? This is Cy Smith, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
My beautiful people, it's your man Tayanas, and right now you got it locked to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio around the world, baby.
Nothing makes you look, feel, and perform better than a tailor-made suit. Just like a tailor-made suit, a mortgage is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Canadian Tailored Mortgage Solutions will customize a mortgage to perfectly suit your needs. Come and get fitted for your mortgage today at 1-877-834-9346 or reach us on the web at ctmortgagesolutions.com. COVID safety protocols are in place. Brokerage license number 13228.
This is Miss Care, keeping you connected with your iLive 5x5, brought to you by iLive Music, sponsored by Independent Hype, and powered by The Hook Entertainment. Contribute to the conversation by using hashtag iLive5x5.
For the latest and greatest in soul music and more, stay tuned to iLive Radio throughout the week.
Connect with our team at iliveradio.com or follow us at iLive Radio across social platforms.
You're listening to iLive Radio.
Here are some words of wisdom. Don't change your station. Don't change your station.
Again, we welcome back to the Wealth Effect Show, brought to you by CTMS with Jason Allen John and myself, Nicole Williams. Again, this week we are joined by the amazing authors and creators of Don't Be a Waste Yute. We have Craig and Dean. Thank you, guys.
Yes, guys, what's up again? So you guys have told us so much about your story, about the course. Now, what I want to know is just, let's give the people a couple of tips, right? Let's actually give everybody some information. So, I think there's a lot that has happened, like you say, with COVID, people spending money and stuff like that. And, as it looks like things are starting to open up. Hopefully we're not getting sent back into another wave like how Europe is going through, but it seems like stuff are opening up. So as we're transitioning back to some sort of normalcy, what type of advice would you give individuals as, things are going back to normal?
Set that emergency fund. Like you never know what's gonna happen. Like they say, set away 3 to 6 months of your necessities. So that's like your rent, food, and like just that, like your utilities. So just like things that you need to like get by in life, right? So I would say save for an emergency because you never know what can happen. And if it's not something where you literally have to, you take your whole paycheck and you're putting it away until you get to that 3 to 6 months mark. But even just start with saying, all right, for the next 3-4 months, I'm going to save $1,000 and then use that as a challenge and then go to the next month. And if people are having issues with savings, that's why we put in the book, the 52-week challenge, to help people save money on smaller increments so that they can get to the ultimate goal.
Nicole does that too.
That's what I said. You know what? I got the book and I'm guilty. Jason gave this to me probably in the summertime, right? I think it was in the summertime.
Yeah.
And, I pulled it out and I'm like, these guys are like my guys. So no, I'm so happy. Yeah. What about yourself, Craig?
A tip I would like to give to individuals, we've had a lot of time inside due to COVID. And I know a lot of people have been thinking about, things that they may want to do. I would love to push people, you know what I mean? If it's an idea that you have or something that you've thought about during COVID, give some time to invest in yourself. I think that is the biggest thing, the biggest key, because what happens is that, again, people get wrapped up into their jobs, and some people don't even like their jobs. They don't love it. They don't like it. Right. So if you have an idea or something that has come across your mind and, you're partnering with people, or even is something that came up by yourself, take that time out of the week, at least 1 hour a day, to help see that idea or business structure through. And if you need help, Check Silver Strikes is here to help you.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. All right. So I got another question. So we talk about like financial literacy, how it affects the culture, and how it affected you guys and stuff like that. What has been rewarding about writing the book? And actually, I want you to answer this too. So you guys have all wrote books about financial literacy. So let me make Nicole be a little bit of a guest too. Like what's been so rewarding, and what was the most surprising feedback that you got from someone you never expected from?
For me, well, a few things for me. So one, I actually wrote a book, so that was very rewarding for me. So it's like, yeah. And two, it's because I have kids, they can be like, my dad wrote a book, and that once I pass, my book will always be there. So that's something that can go on from generations to generations to generations. And a lot of people, well, I can't say a particular person, but like the feedback is amazing that I'm getting from people where they're like, oh my God, I never knew this. Like, thank you so much. Where I think a few people, the little tidbits that I gave them in the book, they're literally running with it. And the things that they're accomplishing, it's just so amazing. And it just makes my heart feel so warm that people are taking this information and utilizing it and using it to their advantage.
Nice. All right, Nicole. Let's spread it.
Okay. So for me, very similar, right? In the sense of my book too isn't too long. So a lot of people love the fact that it's easy to digest, right? And I do write it from my own perspective, and I'm teaching people how, to learn about financial literacy just through things that I learned, So because it was relatable, that was perhaps one of the biggest underlying positive points of feedback is that people are like, oh my God, this is so relatable. We love it. You didn't talk down to us. I feel like I got to know you a little bit. And then I loved what Dean said. It's about that legacy piece, I think everybody has a story in them. It might not be a finance book, but everybody has a story within them. And I feel like, we should all take the time just to try to pen something down.
All right. Craig.
I like that the book has made people vulnerable. And in a sense in which that, money is such a touchy issue.
Yeah.
It's a topic that no one likes to really talk about because either that they're embarrassed about the relationship they have with money, or it's just a situation in which that it's no one really talks about it. So I think that some of the feedback we've got from the book was like, again, Dean and Craig, I wasn't managing my money properly. You know what I mean? I was just spending it on foolishness, and I was, telling myself excuses every day as to why I was spending it. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the biggest things is vulnerability, is that it's making people speak up a little bit more. And as long as myself and Dean can create a safe space that people can have this discussion and have more of it, it just brings a sense of self-care as well, right? So as for, I would have to bounce back to Dean and yourself, Nicole. It's all about legacy, right? My daughter has read the book more than once, and she's 10. So it's just a situation in which that, getting her to kind of think outside that box, because school may not be for everybody. You know what I mean? And I want to give her an outlet to say, if she wants to become an entrepreneur, she knows that, hey, my dad's an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? It's not far away. It's not something that's outlandish and it can't be done. You know what I mean? So that's it.
Well, it seems like your family's entrepreneurial, right?
yeah.
I see something in the background, so I don't think that's your brand.
That's product.
That's not
product
check over
placement.
strikes. I see.
Product placement.
Positioning, Positioning here. It's not everything that's been said. I love those answers, and at the end of the day, I think that's it's about information, and these books, and I'm an avid reader, and it's funny because you guys are sitting here talking about like your books are condensed and short, and I'm literally sitting here. I picked up a book that I started reading. It's like 1,000 pages. So when Dean was saying what he said, I was like, man, I think I'm like the complete opposite when I'm reading my books. Like literally, I have this book on my desk, and like, look at it. So it's like so don't mind my curiosity and stuff like that. But no, it's honestly, it's honored to be here with people that have written books, and like it's something that I want to do. It looks challenging, but it seems very rewarding. But I love all the messages that's being said today, and it's the reoccurring theme is us getting out there and teaching people. This is the point of the Wealth Effect show. It's the point of Checks Over Strikes, and it's all about giving back, and it's like everything you guys are saying is just echoing what we want to present with our show. So. And just on another bit, we got about 5 minutes left, Nicole?
Yes.
Okay, we got about 5 minutes left. So I got one more thing I wanna just ask you guys about, like just about our community and like group economics and stuff like that. Like what there's always that struggle, like saying, oh, we can't work together as people, or even like don't work with your friends or don't work with your family. And then I'm just like, part of me is kind of like you said at the beginning, Dean, strength in numbers, right? Like the more we are together. So what do you guys have any goals yourselves against this book coming up and having people work together more?
Yeah, so with the book, the main thing is to educate people. So the more we can educate our community, the more that we can do things with each other, because you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? So if everybody's on the same wavelength, then things can be done. So Craig and I's dream is to purchase land and start developing on it. So that's something that is down the pipeline that we most definitely want to do. We want to be able to buy land and build our community.
That's dope. That's dope. Love that. And I'm a big believer. You guys know I'm a big believer in group economics. I think it's the only way we're gonna break that trend And like that, seeing that other cultures do so much, and it's like, why can't we organize and do the same thing? You know, I feel like we can organize and throw like crazy parties. Like Caravan and Weekend could be like 1 million parties. Like even one thing that I was thinking about in the whole pandemic, and I'm like, and I don't know how clubs are gonna return, but in my head I'm like, why haven't like DJs, and I said to you, Dean, before, gone together and buy a club? Everybody take a night and do that. Like, I'm not a DJ, but I look at it and I'm like, why are we always in these venues that want to kick us out and not cater to our needs? But why can't we create something? And like, actually, I know a place that's actually going to happen. And Nicole, you know something too. So, but it's like, we need more of that. And I think the only way that's going to come up is us working together. And then like you guys and Nicole having books like this that we pass around to our friends. So we could say, read this. And then maybe the next time you see them, you could have a conversation about, okay, man, Dean, how did you buy that property? Maybe, you know what, I have 15 grand. You know what, I know, you know, Andrew over there has another 10. Like, yo, we should do something together, right? You know, and not look at it as like one of us has to be the man. And I think that's the problem. Like, everyone's like, I need to be the leader. It has to be my idea. It's not my idea. I don't want to be a part of it, right? So I feel like these books and this stuff changes that.
Yeah, I think it's so funny you said that, because I think it was just the Charlemagne talking about, you know, Easy and him being worth 6.6 billion, and it's all because he partnered, right? Mm-hmm. People want to be 100% owners of nothing. And I laughed when I heard that, because it's so true. People don't want to partner. They want to hold their cards close to their chest and be 100% of something that is absolutely nothing. Right? So to me, you got to partner. You gotta share your best practices. You partner, and again, another thing, I don't want to be the smartest in the room, else I'm leaving. When you partner, you learn stuff from different people. You learn different avenues, you learn different aspects. You learn a whole bunch of different things that, you know, you can take in consideration and say, oh, you know, you just turned on a light bulb in my head. You know what I mean? So we need to partner more. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we have just a little over a minute. Any final words that you want to just share with the public, and as well just remind them of how to connect with you guys?
Checksoverstrikes.com. Our personal pages, Avec Placier, with pleasure in French, Dean M. Chambers. Checks in your name, no strikes against it. We're your community superheroes, and we're here to help.
I love that.
Couldn't sum it up better than that. Thank you, Dean.
And yeah, Nicole, and like, you know, I flipped the script on you a little bit, Nicole, today. Sorry, I had to do it because, you know, authors in the building, like.
But guys, really, I'm saying this wholeheartedly. You need to grab the book. Like, I have not put it down since I picked it up, and I'm excited for the conversation with these gentlemen. And, you know, it's not that expensive. Buy it as a gift, give it away, you know, support the movement. And it's not even about supporting the movement, support yourself, get the information.
Bang, love that. Love that.
Okay.
All right, I guess we're getting, and that's the Wealth Effect Show. That's Jason Allen John, and there's Nicole Williams. Thank you, Dean and Craig. Checks over strikes. Don't be a waste Yute. Please pick it up.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for having us on your platform, man.
Definitely.
For sure.
An hour well used.
Hello there, Benjamin Clementine, and listen to iLiveRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, Toronto? My name's Bosco, and you're listening to iLive Radio.
This is Dwight Drummond from CBC News Toronto, and you're listening to iLive Radio.
Hey, what's going down, man? It's your boy Trix, a.k.a. the Human Jump Off, man. You locked into iLive Radio. They changed the way